Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Happy 2-day late birthday, I think.
Yeah,
Any
I don't even know
birthday
what
over the
day it is.
weekend?
Yes, something like that. Yeah, Friday. Friday
All
was the
right.
day.
I won't ask, but I'm assuming you had a great birthday.
I did. It was great. Yes.
Perfect. What'd you wish for when you blew out your candles?
I can't tell you, or it won't come true.
There you go. All right. How we feeling? We had a good holiday weekend last week. It kind of is the calendar moment, end of summer. We're moving into fall. Historically, the real estate market seasonality would say it would slow down after Labor Day. Yet the last 2-3 years, it was pedal to the metal. We didn't really slow down.
Right.
But we're expecting 2022 to look more like a traditional bell curve, a traditional seasonality. Yet predictions are tough right now because we don't know.
Right.
But right now everything looks great. Inventory is healthy. Houses are selling. We'll dive into the numbers. But I like to make mention before I put these numbers up here, Erica, like we've talked about it before on this call. There's certain points in the calendar that create disruption in numbers from a trend line perspective. So for instance, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Juneteenth, now Labor Day, these are long weekends sometimes, and it creates some years the numbers look great through the holiday weekend, and some years they look a little disrupted. I think I'm seeing, well, here, let me just pop it up and we can start going through it here. It looks to be we had some disruption in the numbers over the holiday weekend, because if you're seeing, we were running 50-ish homes selling on a 7-day period, and we dropped to 37.
Yeah.
We were 74 the week before Labor Day, and we were 37 the week after. But if you average the 2 weeks, it looks just like the weeks before.
Right. And
So
even if you go back and look after the fourth weekend, it's eerily similar to that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're holding with 157 active listings in Rockwall County, 26 active option, 53 pending. I feel pretty good about it. If I move over to Dallas County, same story. We were running right around 450 closings per 7-day period. We were up to 509 and we dropped to 254, which is really low. Yet that average doesn't look like these. So it's actually down a little bit in Dallas County.
Right.
Kaufman, pretty decent. 250 active inventory. Collin County, it didn't drop that much. It went from, we were running in the 300 range. It dropped to 240, which is not too drastic. Not near what Dallas County looked like.
Right.
800 active properties in Collin County ready for our buyers to go buy that right now. Denton County, another big county, just for perspective, went from 330, 320 down to 229. So they saw a disruption over the weekend. Not overly concerned, but 965 active listings in Denton County. That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Jump out to the lake, 83 active properties, 16 under contract. They actually were low the week before Labor Day, and then popped the week after. Their closings dipped to 11. But once again, if you average the 2 weeks, we're in the 20-ish range, which is right around where we were. So not overly concerned. The other thing I want to keep eye of is expired listings. We've talked about those, right? So 5 expired listings the last 7 days in Henderson County, 12 at the end of the month, which is normal. Not seeing a spike here yet. But look, some of the bigger counties, We had 8 in Denton County, 90 in the month. It's not that much. I mean,
Yeah, it's not. I was expecting to see a few more expired listings, to be honest.
I think the good news is we're pricing better right
Mhm.
now. When a market shifts, it takes a period of time for consumer expectations to catch up.
Right.
So those sellers that were still holding out for 50,000 cash in their pocket to go to Jamaica.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I just got back from Jamaica. That's why I said that. Anyway, expired listings 27 in Collin County. I mean, it's a little bit up, but nothing too crazy.
Nothing alarming.
20 in Dallas County. I could live with these numbers right now. Rockwall County, 1.
Yeah.
We're doing good. Expireds aren't really a big issue right now. So
Right.
what's the story? I think the story is inventory is still out there, right?
Right.
And
And there's still buyers. Like I was just having a conversation about this weekend, and yes, there's the interest rates that are a little bit different, but when sellers were selling in a high market, they a lot of times were buying in the same market. So it's all relative to each other. So I just started thinking about that conversation to fine tune a little bit with our sellers and buyers that are a little bit, if they're hesitant to sell, but they're still buying in the market, it's all relative to each other. They're going to sell in the same market that they're going to buy in. And I don't know if there's a clear understanding around what that actually means.
well, I mean, think about it. A year ago, if I was going to sell, I was king of the hill. Like I was going to make out like a really, really well on my property. And then I had this emotional feeling like I don't want to lose so somebody else can win to go buy my next house.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then we would have conversations and scripts and dialogues and train agents to say, well, you understand you may pay this today, but appreciation is going to happen and look like this. And if you hold real estate for a period of time, you'll always win. And we were
Right.
training people to have those scripts and dialogues. So then the market shifts a little bit. What's the training today? What's the script today?
Exactly. Because that's what's changed. But I think there's an opportunity for sellers to still get equity in their homes and go get into a home that they really want, which is different than last year, because they would want to sell and then take their money and go to Jamaica.
Yeah. So I think the script today is, hey, we're still getting you a great price for your house. You're not getting stupid cash in your pocket money, but we're getting you a great price for your house. And at the same time, we're going to lock in a good price on your next future home with a rate that may be a rate for a short period of time, but we'll refinance you down the road.
Yeah.
But let's get you into the property you want to live the next 5 years of your life, the next 10 years of your life,
Right.
instead of living in limbo for the next 3 years because you're uncertain of what that transition looks like.
That's right. Yeah, I think it's better. Actually, I think that it's a better opportunity now than it was last year to have conversations with sellers. It's a great time. If I had buyers, I would be calling every single one of them right now because it's a good time to go and look. There's still not an influx of inventory. However, it feels like there is because it all came on very quickly.
Yeah. So this article, I think, is timely and deceiving all at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's talking about how Fannie Mae National Housing Survey says it suffered its 6th straight month of declines and the lowest reading in a decade as market conditions push buyers and sellers to the sidelines. That's just a crappy statement altogether, personally, whoever wrote it. Miriam, we need to talk. Obviously we understand, I called it an acute seller's market. They're calling it an atypical strong seller's market is what the pandemic brought us.
Right.
So that acute seller's market took a giant segment of the buyer population and made it unattainable.
Right.
Well, what happened to that giant segment that wanted to buy, but it was an unattainable opportunity? Where are they? Let's go find them today.
Yes. Yeah,
And that's really what this opportunity is.
that's right.
Who's the buyer that probably should have bought a year ago, but just couldn't do it? Let's go have those conversations today. I'd be doing first-time home buyer seminars. I'd be doing investor seminars. I'd be doing understanding wealth accumulation and equity analysis seminars to help people understand how real estate is a big part of their financial future.
Mm-hmm.
And, whereas declining sentiment has typically been on the home buyer side over the past 2 years, home sellers are now feeling the burn as they have to temper asking prices, deal with longer days on market and return of contingencies and in some markets, even price cuts. Here's the thing. It's managing expectations.
Right.
I mean, a year ago, we were just picking prices out of the sky, and the seller was very involved in just choosing what they wanted. Nowadays, we're consulting them, we're guiding them, we're pricing them for predictability and probability of where these properties are going to be in the next 60 to 90 days.
Right.
And at the same time, buyers are, the Texas real estate contract is actually written to protect buyers. I think everybody understands. Right. Like it's written to protect buyers. But when you remove contingencies and financing and appraisal gaps and all the above, and you start adding escalation clauses, it's no longer a buyer contract. It is a seller advantaged contract. Well, what's happening, what they're saying here is this is shifting back to the normal buyer and selling experience, which typically favors the buyer. What would you say?
I agree. And I think I can't remember who said it. It was in one of the seminars I was listening in on, and he was talking about just this market was unrealistic. Like it's something we'd never seen before. And we are transitioning back to what we consider more, quote unquote, a normalized market. And he had a good point, instead of this gloom and doom, what are we going to do? It's also on a positive note, like we don't want what happened prior to get us to where we were for the low interest rates, for the homes to be moving like that. Like we don't want what happened in order for that to be the product to fix what happened. And so I think it's just, this is the reality. We got to deal in reality. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a gloom and doom thing. It's going back to 2019. These numbers are very similar to what the market looked like in 2019 pre-pandemic. So it's just getting back to work. I think that's the biggest thing. It was a lot. I mean, you stick a sign in the yard, the household had 50 offers, and then the agent was, "Ooh, I'm so awesome, 50 offers, this much over list." And now there's this, we've said it over and over and over again, a skill set that's actually going to be needed to get properties sold and then buyers under contract.
There you go.
It's good. This is a good thing. I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go crazy high level financial conversations for a minute. And I realize the understanding of these next two articles is a much higher complicated conversation than we usually have, but I think these are important conversations. That's why I wanted to bring them to the table. So the Fed believes that the stock market's going to be a wild card in the near future. And what investors need to know is Fed shrinks balance sheet at faster pace. So here's what you have to understand about the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve years ago was trying to protect our economy and really the real estate industry. And in order to do that, the banks were nervous and weren't lending money to buy houses. So what the Fed did was they made commitments to back and buy all these loans. So there is an enormous amount of mortgages that are owned by the federal government that sit on their balance sheet. And what the Fed wants to do is to decrease those number of mortgages on their balance sheet and give it back to the public sector. And so realize now everybody wants to have their money in real estate from an institutional investor standpoint. But 20 years ago, everybody was scared to death of it because of the 1980s and things like that. So the Fed was having to back all this real estate to keep our industry afloat. Well, this is a little nervous because what happens in the private sector when they own the mortgages and it's not backed by the federal government, like, you know, with the Queen of England just died. Well, there's if I went from England, that is a stability factor in my life. So now I might feel a little unstable because my monarch died, right? This is a little bit of a stability factor to our US economy, is the fact that the government owns these loans, right? So as they're taking down this balance sheet, it's going to create some volatility in the stock market, which is going to create just uncertainty. But I think what I believe, and this is an opinion, I believe the more struggle the stock market has, the more people invest in real estate. They want their money somewhere working for them. But at the end of the day, I think it's just an important thing, because here's what it's saying. It's saying the Fed, in fact, began slowly shrinking its balance sheet. If you understand balance sheet, it means the mortgages they own, a process known as quantitative tightening, or QT, earlier this year. Now it's accelerating the process as planned, and it's making some market watchers nervous. So I actually think the stock market is going to take a hit, but realize this is probably a good thing for our industry in the future. And it was a great thing for our industry in the past. And it's just understanding what this terminology means, because you know, and I know how many people have bought homes with FHA mortgages, or you buy a mortgage from ABC lender and then it's sold to Fannie Mae, or it's sold to Freddie Mac, or all these government backed products, right?
Right.
How many student loans are government backed, right?
A lot.
Almost.
Well, I'm glad you touched on this. I'm glad you already said it. You said that historically, and if you look back, a lot of times it gives us a prediction of what may happen in the future. Not always, but it's a good indicator. And the last time the market dropped, real estate went up. And so you're exactly right. And there's advertising around it. Market agents were using it as a lead generation tool. My cousin's in the stock market sector. We talked about this past weekend. He actually said if this starts happening at a high level and a high pace, the real estate market will go up, because people will start pulling their money from him. Yeah. To real estate. It happened before.
They don't remember, we all operate on predictability and probability.
That's right.
And when something's doing this, there's not a lot of predictability. You're waiting for it to do that, right? All right. So the other high level conversation is this one. The Fed will need great skill and good luck to bring down inflation without crashing the economy. So here's what this says, and let me find the quote. All right. Of course, a recession is a concern. The Fed is going to need great skill and also some good luck to achieve what we sometimes call a soft landing, which is bringing down inflation while maintaining the strength of the labor market. So what's making our economy so confusing right now is we basically are at full employment with high inflation. And so the goal is not to kill employment, but to bring inflation down. And if they can pull off this chess game, they call that a soft landing. It'll be amazing for us. If they can't pull off this chess game and they kill the labor market trying to pull down inflation, it at the end of the day would not be a very great thing for us. Now, there are people that disagree with this, and no matter where you stand on the fence, I think everybody agrees we've got to pull inflation down somehow. But basically it's saying, but over the long run, the labor market can't remain strong without inflation being under control. So there you have it. I think this is what the economy looks like going forward. Is it's going to be a chess game and a navigation by the Fed to try to bring this inflation down without killing our economy. And how do they do that? And how does it affect real estate? Well, rates are going to go up. But good employment and great jobs and wages is just as much a factor for the success of our industry as interest rates.
That's right.
So I'd rather have a great job market and a higher interest rate than a piss poor job market and a low interest rate.
Agreed.
And because we all kind of joked in the early 2000s that you just had to fog a mirror to get a loan, you know?
Yeah.
Now it's like you have to have a job, you have to have money, and you have to have a credit score.
That's right.
And so the job market is one of the three in the three-legged stool there. So what do you think?
I read this article a couple times because I found it very interesting, and I don't envy everybody that's having to figure this out and navigate this. And I agree with you that if you want a job, you can have a job. I mean, there's hiring signs all over Rockwall. I see them in every restaurant I go to, every store I go into. And
you're hiring a front desk.
We are, where there's 2 interviews today. So, I mean, there's still this push and pull, and I lean with you. I would rather have high unemployment and interest rates, you know, come up a little bit rather than vice versa, because I think that would be more disastrous to our economy than the other way. But yeah, I don't envy what they're having to navigate this, because it's new territory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, let's run through some of these other things. New projects. Tell me about this.
Well, this is just an FYI. So if you ever want to know what is going on in DFW, Dallas Biz Journals, they post this once a month, maybe twice a month, just everything that's going on as far as new construction. It's mostly commercial. So one, it's an indicator of where people will be moving, what to be aware for when people are having conversations of what's going here. Do you know what's going out there? It just is an education piece. So it's still building along that sector we talked about, like going up to Anna, Van Alstyne, things like that. There's some renovations going on in Plano, but this is just more of a to keep our agents in the know. Yeah, knowledge is power. So the more you know, I feel like an information.
So you'll pop this link in the Facebook.
Yeah.
All right. So no relief in sight for Dallas area apartment renters. So here's the interesting thing I think about this, Harder, and then I'm throwing it to you. We understand the cost of housing is going up because prices are going up and interest rates are going up. But one of the things that I think is a benefit to buying and selling of real estate is rents are cranking just as fast. So if they were staying low, people might stay in the rental market longer and not take on the housing market. But because rents are cranking just as fast, if not faster, I think that keeps people coming our way, and all the marketing of here's what the buying versus renting and all that stuff stays relevant.
Yeah, it's not stabilizing at all. So it's gone up another 12. I can't imagine what it is. And I was watching Fox News or something. There was lines out the door to get into some of these apartment complexes to even get an apartment. So people, 2 things, people still need housing. A lot of people still need housing. We went up 20%. Now we're up another 12%. So it is outpacing the housing market.
August was 14% higher than
crazy. And then the year before it was like 20%, at 17 to 20%, something like that. So it is outpacing the housing market. So to me,
Dallas is the fourth largest year-over-year rent increase behind Orlando, Miami, and Nashville.
Yes, people are standing. I don't know what apartment complex it was. It was in downtown Dallas. People were standing in line just to go look at these apartments to be able to rent. Mm-hmm. So opportunity. Rent is not.
But I do see one thing I see here is it's coming down. So we talk about price appreciation going from 20% back down to 5%.
Right.
Rents were going 14%. They're projecting it down to 12% by the end of the year, right?
Yeah, over last year. Yeah.
All
Still.
these are going backwards. So the escalation is slowing down, just like the housing appreciation is slowing down.
Right.
Maybe not at the same rate.
It's not. I
Yeah.
mean, you can do the calculations. It's not.
Yeah.
Um,
This is interesting. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but traffic's a little heavier. Like most employers are saying, get your tail back to the office. And I think there's a sense of productivity that happens in an office that doesn't happen at home. We don't like to admit it, but we understand that's a reality. So office leasing is back up.
yes.
And that really is just an article stating that. Anything else?
Yeah, it just talks about getting them back to the office for productivity and culture. Culture was mentioned a lot. So getting they're doing it slowly. However, the goal is by the end of this year into early next year that everybody will be back into the office.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
back to whatever was normal, I guess.
North Texas housing market sees fewer sales, but prices are still sky high. Yeah, we're not sliding backwards in pricing. Even though if the market slows down, even if inflation slows down, the only way the prices start to go backwards is if sellers are having to sell at a discount to move the property. There's very few, if any, sellers having to sell at a discount right now. People need to understand that. Like, we're still selling for good prices.
Yeah,
and may not be crazy prices, but we're selling for good prices.
I mean, depending on the price point and where the house is, and if it's a good home, there's still bidding wars over certain homes. So it's not go in, low ball. We're not there, not even close. However, I mean, one of our agents just got one under contract for 20,000 over list. So it's still happening. It's just not as common.
So this is a great example that I can talk about. So in June, the median price was $435 and it slipped to $415 in August. So to some people, they may think, oh, prices are going backwards. But the truth is what's this price compared to August, the year before, wherever it is. So it was $360 in August 2021, and it's $415 in August of 2022. So did prices really go backwards?
No.
From June?
Yeah, but that's still, again,
not what we would consider an annual appreciation.
That's right. That's a powerful thing to show a seller.
Yeah, it's really important to help people understand, hey, your house was worth this a year ago. Today it's worth this. Yeah, okay. 90 days ago, I might have been able to get you an extra 20 grand. But you're still making out really, really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't have a crystal ball, but I think, there's a little bit of that FOMO. They missed out selling when the market was ridiculous. And we may not ever see the likes of that again. And that's just the reality. But knowing what the numbers were and what they are now is going to be really good in having these conversations. Like, sorry, you missed the boat. Now this is where we're at. You're still going to make a good amount of money. And anyway, so I think so
here's the thing.
The reality.
Mr. and Miss Seller, if you bought AMC stock at $4 a share and rode it up to 20, and today it's worth 16, are you just going to hold on to that stock all the way to the bottom again? Or are you going to sell it at 16?
Yeah, great analogy. Yeah.
Because I could be pissed that I didn't sell it at 20, but at the end of the day, hell, 16 is a whole lot more than 4 that I paid for it.
That's right. And it's the same thing. If you sold at 20 and then it went up to 22, you're like, well, I still at least got 20. That's it. That's what they would be thinking. So it's just reversing how people are thinking about it, because we may not see the likes of that again for a while.
Yep.
If ever. Who
All
knows?
right.
All right, cool.
Happy
Have a good
Monday.
day. All right, bye.